guys, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing well, and for today's video I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in 2025. So after this video I hope to make like my top 5. I have my top 5 already, so I'm excited to talk about that. My most disappointing or worst books of the year as well. But let's start off with everything that I read last year. I read 100 books in total, which I'm really proud of. I haven't hit 100 in years. It's taken me a little bit to get back up to 100, but I'm really happy that I did. I really prioritized reading later in the year especially, and it just makes me happier, so I'm glad. So I have my Storygraph app out. I use Storygraph and Goodreads. Storygraph is a lot better for statistics if that's what you're looking for, so I'll share some stats from the year. It says my average time to finish a book was 4 days, so every 4 days I was finishing something. My top moods of the year were dark and tense. Then I have a little chart with the pacing of some of these books that I read, as well as the page numbers. For fiction, nonfiction, I read majority fiction, 91 fiction, 9% nonfiction. My top 3 genres were horror, thriller, and romance. My top 5 most read authors were Shuzo Ushimi, Stephen King, Brahm, John Athen, and Katana. I can't say I don't want to butcher the last name, but yeah, those were my top 5 authors. Now let's start talking about some of the individual books. I'll have to go through these kind of quick because there's 100 of them, but yes. So I read Doll's House. This was just a really quick thriller short story. I thought it was okay. I read Roots. This was a graphic novel. Also rated this around the same as the other one, like a 3-star. It was just okay. This Day is Darker by R.H. Sin. I used to read a lot of his work in the past. This one I didn't like too much, but I'll still probably read whatever he writes. Then I read 20th Anniversary Screening. This one was interesting, kind of a similar premise to Scream, where, you know, does movies about violence inspire violence, and then, you know, a big massacre happened in the actual movie theater in this book. So I thought it was interesting. It was one of the good, like, horror novellas type things that I've read this year. Then I read Binding 13. This one surprised me because romance is not always my genre, I feel like, and I don't read a ton, but this one was really good. It was like new girl in school, had to move from her old school because she got bullied, and she meets like the quarterback of the football team, and it's a slow burn, but I really liked it. I gave that one like a 4. I really liked it. After that I read Keeping 13, which is in the same series. I liked it I think just as much as the first one. It talks about a lot of difficult issues as well. It had so much more substance to it than I thought these books would. Birthday Girl, this one I did not like. It was an age gap romance. I would not read anything like this again, to be honest. Scream for Us, this one is a Ghostface, who is it? Ghostface, Jason, and Myers. I think it was them 3, like a smut romance with them 3 targeting somebody, kind of. It was interesting. Then I read Good Game by Madison Fox. This one was about like masked gamers. It was a fun romance. I liked it. Then I read Tastes Like Candy 2. This one I was super disappointed by. I love the first one, and in this one wasn't it. I read Happily Ever After. I read a few of this author's books this year, and they're just really fun, light graphic novels, usually like silly, quirky, about relationships, the mundane parts of relationship. Then I read Petty Cupid. I read this one for Valentine's Day. These are like fun, short novellas, romance smut type thing. I read Mallrats. This is by the same author as Tastes Like Candy. I was hoping this would redeem the author for me. It did not, but it's okay. Then I read Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. This I actually really liked. It's not in my top 5 for the year, but I really enjoyed my reading experience with it, and I don't think I've ever seen a male author write women so well, ever. Like, I was impressed with this. I was definitely impressed with this one and the author's writing. Then I read Rest Stop by Nat Cassidy. I read a lot of kind of horror, extreme horror this year. I quite liked this one. This was like, this girl ends up locked in this restroom, and there's like supposedly a villain on the other side, but she's also hallucinating on the inside. So there's like also stuff going on inside the restroom, like inside the washroom at the rest stop. So it's a journey. I also read The Visitor. This one is cool. It was like horror, a little bit of sci-fi in there. Camp Slaughter I read. This I thought was really basic and cliche. I didn't really enjoy this one at all. I read Suicide Notes. This one I realized I've read before, and I rated it the same as I did like 10 years ago, and it was like a 3. I just wasn't really impressed, but it's about a guy and his experience at a mental hospital. I read Living with Moochie. This is a cute little graphic novel with cute doggy. Then I read The Flowers of Evil 1 and 2. I did not really enjoy these that much. I won't be continuing. I didn't buy into it. I just, nope. Then I read Holly by Stephen King. This one I really liked. I love Holly as a character, so any book that has her in it or anything that has her character in it, I'm totally sold for. Then I read Womb. This one was one of the most fucked up, I mean, it was up there, yeah, for the most like messed up extreme horrors that I read. Definitely not for the faint of heart. Definitely memorable. Can picture right now everything that happened. So more with the extreme horrors, but we got 100% match. This was probably my worst book of the year. Hated it. I never want to hear a cook talking about putting shit and fingernails into people's food and watching them eat it. It was revolting. Which, I mean, it's supposed to be, but I just didn't find any redeeming qualities about this at all. Then I have No One Rides for Free. It's another really memorable one. It's one that I didn't really know how to rate originally, because extreme horror, you just have to rate them. In my brain, you have to rate them a lot differently, because they're fucked. And if they make you feel uncomfortable and scared and nervous and stuff, that's what they were going for. But again, this is one that I can picture very clearly. Not for the faint of heart. Please look into any trigger warnings before you read it. Then I read a bunch of these Happiness series. I didn't really like it. I just read it on Kindle Unlimited. Thought it was okay. I wouldn't continue with it. I read Unfamiliar. This is another graphic novel. Cute, witchy graphic novel. I enjoyed it. I also read Are Your Parents Home by John Athen. This one was one that I would probably boost my rating of. I think originally I gave it only a 2.5. I've thought about this one throughout the whole year. Super messed up. But exactly what extreme horror is supposed to be, in my opinion. So, I also read Love in Pajamas. This was another like cutesy graphic novel about relationships. I enjoyed it. I gotta have a little bit of like lightness in between some of these books. Then I have Psychic Teenage Bloodbath. This one I did not enjoy, and there's a very vivid scene of someone's ass getting blown up. That's the most memorable part, in my opinion. Do Not Disturb by John Athen. This was about a bunch of clowns who try to get into this girl's motel room. This was like one of my lowest rated John Athen books, but it reminded me of all like the, you know, people dressing up as clowns and committing crimes like that happened a few years ago or 10 years ago, whatever it was. Next I have Mary. This one was only 7 pages. Extreme horror. Definitely not what you expect. I didn't guess the twist. I liked it though. It's good. Then I have Never Flinch. This one I really liked. Probably my fave King that I read this year. I'll pick up anything that he writes or any of his new releases. I'll pick them up. Then I read Ingest Me and Ingest Me 2. These are messed up. Kind of. The brother hides his liquids? What's the word? He puts things in his sister's food that are, you know, not supposed to be eaten. That are from his body. And there's 2 novellas about it. Really weird, really fucked up. Second one, we follow the sister and kind of the consequences that the first book had on her moving forward and stuff. Super messed up, but if you're looking for something weird, I would actually recommend it. It's weird and uncomfortable, but I read through them super fast. Then I read You Are Home and Little Moments of Love. These are, I sprinkled them in there between the extreme horror, you know? They were just cute romance graphic novels. I read Motel Sticks. This one is one that's about, basically when you die, you can choose to donate, before you die, you can choose to donate your body to a necro hotel for necrophiliacs. Yeah, that's what it was about. It was an extreme horror. I wasn't the biggest fan, especially because it was built up in the book to be something like this big reveal, and then I was like, oh. Next I read Snug. This is another romance kind of cutie graphic novel. I enjoyed it. I read War and Peas. This one was funny. It had the Grim Reaper in it, so I was all for that. Then I read Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang. This was one of my favorites, so I'm excited to talk about it in that video specifically, but I gave it a 5. Was so surprised by it. I read it on Kindle. Then we have Strange Houses. This one like got a lot of popularity on TikTok and stuff because it was a mystery, but it had to do with the floor plans. So you're trying to like look at the floor plans and see what's messed up about this, where's the mystery here. And I did like it. I did enjoy it. I read his other book at some point this year too. More extreme horror. We have The Bug Collector. This one was, if you don't know what that is, I don't want to tell you, but it was probably one of my favorite extreme horrors. Very messed up, intriguing read, a perspective that I never thought I would get. It was unique. Then I read Playground. This one was interesting. Basically, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I think it was pitched as like Squid Games, but with kids, but they get tortured and die, I guess. It was interesting. It was messed up. Some of the villain characters in this though were really like, I thought some of them were really well done, some of the villains. I'd be interested in reading the second book in this series. This one is one I read on Kindle, and I don't plan on buying it physically. So if the second book comes out on Kindle Unlimited, I'll definitely read it. Then we have Made a Monster. This one was another messed up book. Like two people who've been through so much trauma, two horrible, messed up people that come together and they're just more messed up together. That's what this is. When the Mockingbird Sings, this one has to do with like a gang, like a mob type story, and someone pissing off the mob and having to suffer the consequences. I'll put these three together: Dollface, Puppet, and Dolly and Pip. I did not like these. I have very vivid memories of reading these to do with teeth, but they weren't for me. They're extreme horror. Definitely look into any trigger warnings if you are at all interested in them. The Slob, this one was probably one of my favorite extreme horrors of the year. A lot of trigger warnings, but it definitely stuck with me. I still remember it. It had one of the most messed up villains and intriguing stories, messed up stories, but like you couldn't look away. Disco Rice, this was about someone who eats maggots. I thought it was okay. 8 Cases of Jane, this is about a woman who commits murders, or 8 murders, I believe, and then she tells a story of each one to the psychologist. How to Be Perfectly Unhappy, this one is another like cutesy graphic novel. I didn't like it that much. I really got into Brahm this year, which I'm really happy about. So I read The Child Thief. I really enjoyed that. It's a Peter Pan retelling, focuses mostly on the Lost Boys. After that I reread Peter Pan because I was just in the mood for it. So I reread the original. Then I read Red Womb. This is one that I won't forget just because I did not like it. And there's, you know, spider babies, flames, birth. I wasn't about it. Then I read The House on Abigail Lane. This one was okay. It was like a spooky ghost story. It takes place over different time periods of like the stuff that's happened at this house. Then I read The Hair. This is another one that is definitely on like a favorites list of mine. I really enjoyed it. Was pleasantly surprised. It was messed up, but kind of grotesque, but it was just so unique at the same time. Like I was just shocked. Then we have The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I read this off Kindle Unlimited. I was curious, got so much hype. I read it, I thought it was okay. Then I have Pumpkinheads. This is a graphic novel that I've read a few times, so I just did my annual like reread of it for the fall. Hansel and Gretel, this was the new Stephen King release that came out. I enjoyed it. It's like a children's book, but the art style was like beautiful, very unique. I really enjoyed the book as a whole. Was beautiful. Then I have This Damned House. This one is like a bunch of stories about all the stuff that goes wrong at this one house. It's an extreme horror. It was okay. Strange Pictures. This one is similar to, it's by the same author as Strange Houses. So I forget what this one was. Oh yeah, like a kid draws these pictures and you're trying to like decipher what they mean and like the hidden meanings behind them and why he drew such weird things. Dead Body Disposal by John Athan. I liked this one. It was good. It was basically about this guy he was in a hotel room or a motel, and he has to figure out how to get this body out of there, and the best way to do that without getting caught. Then I read Battered Broken Bones. This is a extreme horror anthology. It was very body horror. So if you're looking for body horror, there's something for you in this one. There has to be. But I thought it was really unique and interesting, and I got to read from some different extreme horror authors that I haven't read from before. Then I have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I did enjoy this one. If you're at a cottage or something, you need to read this one so that you can look over at like your neighbors and be like, just like this girl did. And she low-key like stalks them, looks through their windows, everything, trying to decipher like the couple's marriage, what was going on over there, so many things. We Sold Our Souls. This one I thought was okay. If you like metal, I read it because, or someone bought it for me a long time ago because of how much I like metal music, but I thought it was okay. I wish it was I wish I liked it a little more. Just the storyline I don't think was that strong in my opinion, but it was still a cool reading experience. You'll get references to different metal bands throughout the book. Next I have Lost Gods by Brahm. This was so good. It's a fantasy. I was so pleasantly surprised by this one. To me, it's like more higher fantasy than what I usually read. So I was really surprised about how much I enjoyed it. But I think this is one of Brahm's best work that I've read so far. His writing style is just so unique. Like, I want to compare it to Neil Gaiman. I know a lot of people don't like Neil Gaiman. I don't know what happened with that. But his writing is just so unique. Like, kind of like Neil Gaiman where it's whimsical and stuff, but also just, I don't know, something about it. Something about it. I love it. Then I read 3 Stephen King's from the Bachman books. I read Rage, The Running Man, and Roadwork. Rage I thought was interesting. The main perspective is a school shooter and what happens with that. The Running Man is like a big competition. The movie came out this year for it. It's a big competition. Pretty much to the death. Pretty much like OG Hunger Games, because this was written way before that. And then Roadwork was like just about this guy who can't get to work anymore because there's a issue with the road, so he you know, goes insane and stuff. Then we have Play Nice. This one came out this year. I did like it. I listened to it on audiobook. Too old for this. So good. Listen to this on audiobook. Funny and like old lady murderer. I would recommend this one so highly. The Honeycrisp Orchard Inn. This one follows like an event planner who moves back to her hometown. She gets screwed over by her ex at her job and goes back to her hometown to help her parents run the inn. Beg for it. This is another like masked romance smut story. The Cinnamon Bookstore. I like this one a little bit more than the first book. Definitely had way more spicier scenes than the first book. I think they look really innocent. Like the first book looks really innocent, but like, yeah, just keep in mind who you buy them for. Like if you're buying it for somebody in your life, just, yeah, they get smuttier sort of as they go on. So just be aware of that. Then I reread The Afterlife of Holly Chase. This is one that I read probably 10 years ago. So I revisited this one. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as I did back then, unfortunately, but it was still kind of nostalgic. I don't read a ton of YA as much as I used to anymore. So it was kind of nice being back in that mindset, sort of. Next I read The Wild Robot. So this one I read because I love the movie. The movie's phenomenal. Watch the movie. This was okay. I didn't like how the author would take you out of the story and then talk to the reader specifically. That irked me, but it is a middle grade book, so I can see kind of why they were doing that, but at the same time, wasn't for me. Then I read Krampus. This one was phenomenal by Brahm. Brahm was definitely like my favorite author of the year, but this book just had so much substance, horror, holiday themed, perfect. Like this book and Nosferatu by Joe Hill are like my two favorite holiday horrors that you should read. Okay, we're almost done. We have Mickey and Mo. This one was a short extreme horror story. It was basically had to do with drug addiction, cooking meth, and like the couple and how that developed. I also read The Christmas Tree Farm. This is probably one of my favorites from this series so far. It was just really cute. Like the girl has to move into this new town where everyone's like super close knit, and then a guy kind of tries to help her out, and you know, things develop. Then I read Am I Beautiful? This one is like kind of based off an old myth. I forget exactly what its name is, but like gets her face carved up and stuff and then goes to haunt other people. Then I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I really like this one. This one had me, like dark, mysterious mansion, years and years of backstory. I was into it. I didn't love the ending, but it had me for most of the book. Then we have Horns by Joe Hill. This one I thought I would like more than I did. It wasn't my favorite. Probably my least favorite Joe Hill that I've read so far. Then I read like a few like holiday novellas. So I read My December Darling. It was just a cutesy romance. I read Grandma's House. This was a spooky thriller. I'll Be Alone for Christmas, another spooky thriller about this girl who goes to a cabin by herself because her and her boyfriend break up not long before the trip, but she paid for this cabin, so she goes by herself. It's very secluded and shit happens. And then I read Jolly Cupid, which I read the Valentine's Day one earlier this year, so this is the Christmas one. It was cute. A little smutty, but it was cute. Then I read Secret Santa. This is the advent calendar book. The reading experience with this was so cool. I liked reading one story a day. Like, even though sometimes I'd want to read more, I just like the concept of this. I think it's very interesting. And then I read Evil in Me by Brahm. This one was also good. Really weird, kind of hippy dippy, if I do say so. But it was unique for sure. And there you guys have it. Those were all the books I read this year. Let me know what you read down below if you want to talk about any favorites or least favorites. But hopefully I'll have videos coming out with my favorites and my least favorites soon. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.